What is up, everyone? And today we finally have images of the 2024 UCS JABBA'S Sail Barge, a set that's been the subject of a lot of speculation, from how big it will be to how many minifigs it might include, and of course whether or not it will actually have an interior. We'll have all of that and more answered in this video, sponsored by mnrshop.com, link in the description below. But let's hop into it. First off, the box, of course, making use of the all-black box art, the Void, and this is yet another set in the Star Wars UCS lineup that I think would benefit a lot from having actual art on the box. Like, it would look so cool in the desert of Tatooine, but it does look pretty cool in the box nonetheless. It's very, just first thought, like, dang, that's Jabba's Sail Barge. I mean, kind of like when the UCS AT-AT was coming out, people were like, what's it gonna look like? Like, it's gonna be a big UCS AT-AT, and it's kind of the same vibe to me with the sail barge. Like, it's a big sail barge, yep, kind of checks that box first and foremost. Now, it includes 3,942 pieces, and that retail price is going to be $500 on that, and I have a tough time, like, gauging the price on Lego sets. Like, it's very much like each set is so different, yet, like, in this case, I think someone was pointing out that you can look at a couple of really good examples, like the Avengers Tower or Rivendell, both the same price as the sail barge. But in the case of the Tower, I think it's 1,300 more pieces. In the case of Rivendell, it's over 2,000 more pieces. And both of those sets have way more minifigs than the sail barge, yet the sail barge costs the same amount of money and price per pieces and everything. I've said that many a times. I'll say it many a times in the future, I'm sure. Just that bare bones comparison makes the price feel kind of crazy. And you've got the additional Sarlacc pit and Desert Skiff that I feel like, I'll talk about this more in my review. This should be part of this set. Maybe they should still have sold this separately, but this stuff should have probably been included for the $500 price tag. Before we go any deeper on the sail barge, though, I feel like we got to jump into the figures because people always just want to know about those. Are they good? Are they bad? Are there enough in this $500 set? And in this case, there are 11 figures, and I feel like that is an adequate amount. I feel like it should fill out the sail barge nicely. In the same vein, you can always want more. I can totally understand that. Let me know in the comments below which characters you wish were included in this set, but I feel like they hit the big ones at the very least here. And we'll start with Max Rebo, I suppose, who looks a lot like the 2013 version. I really can't tell if it's the same exact figure or if the mold is a bit different on top. Obviously, the body and the legs are both still unprinted. If it's not the same as what they had in 2013, then it's very dang close to what they had in 2013. And the same, I think, can be said for Jabba the Hutt. He does have pupils, which is crazy given what the minifig designer has been saying. Like, oh, if it has colored eyes, they can't have pupils. Thank God Jabba the Hutt has pupils. You know how ridiculous this character would have looked without pupils? Now they just need to reapply that same philosophy to all of the other characters that look really dumb without pupils, like Darth Maul. Like, even in Rebuild the Galaxy, Darth Maul had pupils, but the actual physical figure we get can't have pupils. It's the dumbest thing. So I'm glad that they weren't so hard-headed on this particular character, because Jabba the Hutt, I mean, man, would have really sucked to not get pupils. But there is a character without pupils, and that would be Salacious Crumb. Of course, the mold and other details on this character look amazing. It's just that the eyes look completely soulless, and it makes the character just not look anything close to as good as it should have. So, yeah, I still think maybe that 2012 version is going to be peak Salacious Crumb to this point. The other big character it felt like this set absolutely had to have was a Slave Leia, and she's actually included. The figure itself is pretty fantastic. There is a couple of things I wish we maybe would have saw, like side arm printing would have been very nice for, like, there's like little gold cuffs or something on her arm that like would have looked pretty sick with a little side arm print for a $500 set. Her hairpiece though is beautifully done. It's fantastic. It's as good as it's gonna get. Like, it's so accurate. It's ridiculous. Like, yeah, I think the hairpiece is beautiful. I think they did a great job with that. They've even got the thing around her neck, which will allow for an attachment onto her back to like actually have her chained up, which just, I don't know, kind of given the scenario and like how weird Lego and other companies have been about this character and how many people thought, and I still think that Disney basically outlawed Lego and other companies from making this figure for the last decade. I'm kind of surprised they're going to let you chain her up, just being pretty frank there. But the legs on this character are going to be a bit of a discussion point. And I like what they did, although I wish there was just one sliver of skin showing, because it does make it look like she's wearing pants and not wearing whatever it is she's, the cape or whatever it is she's wearing in the actual movie. That's my only sticking point. I do think it is better than what we had in the past, because in the past, you just had the little sliver of cloth basically printed onto the front of her, and it looked fine for the early 2000s, which is when they were designing this, whatever. The figure was literally yellow. On the back, it would look like the character's butt, and like she's naked effectively. And that's probably not where you want to be with your Lego figures. And so I can see why they wanted to get away from that design language, and dual molded legs do solve that, because you can't just print, Lego at least, can't and won't print on the back of the Lego figure legs. So you would end up with like a naked look, which is, again, not what you want probably. And so the dual molded legs do fix that, but it does make it look like she's wearing literally like Nike shorts or whatever. And so I can see that being a downside, but I think overall the figure looks quite nice. A sliver of tan somewhere printed in there would have been good. Then again, the other issue arises, like that tan color, Lego has enough printing issues. We've seen them, Commander Fox. You know, that tan color, is that going to match the tan color of the actual tan plastic on her legs and torso and so forth? Probably not. And so then that's going to look bad too. So like, I think in this case, it's a good solution to a pretty complicated problem when it comes to making Slave Leia and her legs. You know, overall, the figure looks great. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with it. Clearly, they put a bit of thought and quality into it. But yeah, there's those two things that I kind of mentioned there that like, that could have been like a little bit better. Next, we've got the classic combo of R2 and C-3PO. I love the tray build and the actual glasses that R2-D2 is riding with look like they actually have liquid in them, which is so much better than what we've had in the past. So that's a great thing. The C-3PO, on the other hand, what are we doing? I mean, no dual molded leg on this C-3PO is absurd. Look, I've got one, I've got two. They came in other sets, but we're in a $500 set. You have made a peak C-3PO in the $240 Luke's Landspeeder, and now over the summer, I think it's $140 C-3PO with the dual molded leg that looks fantastic. It's just about the perfect C-3PO outside of making him literally chrome gold with all of that detail included, right? And now in a $500 set, you're taking that away. This is the most, I don't know, it might be the most, but it's definitely one of the most obvious cost-cutting, penny-pinching measures that you can just point to and be like, they're cheap with Lego Star Wars. Like, that is unquestionably crazy cheap for a $500 set to not give C-3PO the one dual-molded leg that the best version of his figure that comes in sets that cost half as much or a quarter as much money include. And this is something that's in production already. It's not like they had to start up the production lines again and that it's been out of production for 10 years and anyone that wants it is asking for something crazy. And anyone that's probably buying a $500 sail barge probably already has the figure from the C-3PO or the UCS Luke's Landspeeder, but that's besides the point. It's a $500 set. It should come with the best version of that thing that you make or can make. Period. Full stop. It went for Captain Rex last year. It goes for C-3PO this year. It should go for every figure, every time, in every UCS set. It should be the best version. I don't care if I'm getting a phone call. It should be the best version of C-3PO, dang it. Hello?
Hey man, what's going on?
Ranting about C-3PO. Moving on, because I don't remember where I left off, we have a Gamorrean guard and Bib Fortuna. The Bib Fortuna is different than the one we saw in the Boba's Palace. I think there's just a little bit of different torso printing generally, but I think his headpiece is still like the way oversized one. Is that fat Bib Fortuna still? I'm pretty sure that's a cheap and lazy Bib Fortuna reuse on that headpiece there, which is a dang shame. Again, $500 set, mind you. I'm going to complain about it. That is abysmal to reuse there when they would make a unique version for like $100 set or a $30 set, or was it a $7 set in 2003? $7 gets its correct piece. $500 doesn't, you know? It's just that kind of absurdity. And then finally, we have the three characters that I am certainly not familiar with, couldn't name off the top of my head. The one on the left is Kathaba, and I think the last time we saw him was the 2012 Desert Skiff set that I have here off to the side. So he looks like a nice, decent upgrade versus that 2012 version. Then in the middle, we have a figure named Vizam. And then on the right, we have a character named Wolf. Now, something that surprised me is they actually include a stand to display all of the minifigs. Now, alongside the display card for the sail barge, you actually have a big platform for Jabba the Hutt, 25th anniversary brig. And then they have this entire area for the other 10 characters. And I thought this is kind of weird. The UCS AT-AT didn't do this, and it's probably the closest cousin of a Lego Star Wars set to this sail barge, in that the figures can just fit inside the sail barge, so it feels a little unnecessary to have that sort of extra display figure holder. Look, I'm not going to argue with extra value. Some people might like it. It just felt odd to me as an inclusion because, like I said, all of the figures can fit inside, and it also doesn't like attach to the original display stand. But if that's how you want to display your sail barge, it is something that is included. I think externally this thing looks incredible. I think one of the hardest parts to get right on a sail barge is the very front end, and at least in the couple of different angles that we can see see in the pictures, it looks pretty good to me. I think in person, for me personally, it might be a different story. You never know. Like, I'm definitely looking forward to the day I get this in hand. I don't get one for free from Lego, so we'll wait a few days. But, it looks really good to me. And so I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. I also kind of like there's this like trim of underside underneath the paneling that also looks quite nice from, again, just a couple of angles that we can see it at. We do also have a black stand underneath the sail barge. In some images it's there, in some images it's not, but there's 3 different points that touch the ground. I haven't done the research, but I will for my review. Just something looking at the set that I noticed is that the top side uses a lot of dark gray for the floor, and that's just completely different than 2006 and 2013, which used tan and dark tan. So seeing it in gray, I was just like, oh, that's different. So we'll see. I'm not sure. And that entire top side of the sail barge has a lot of little things going on. There's little pieces sticking out of the ground. There's little stairs that lead up going back in the sail barge. There's the big cannon on top. Like, it definitely looks like there's a lot of play space, or at least like proper, accurate functions / details on top of the sail barge, and you can certainly stuff a lot of minifigs on top of there. But while that topside detail probably comes as no surprise to anyone, the interior might. There were definitely some people out there that weren't sure if it would have an interior, and I was like, dude, it's going to be like the UCS AT-AT, in my opinion. It's always what I thought of this set at $500 as. And of course, it does have an interior that's reasonably accurate to what you would see in the actual Jabba sail barge, although I don't think this is quite 1-to-1 minifig scale, which I never think they need to be, but it's just factually not. On the front end, I think we have a little pilot seat area. It's a little hard to tell, a little grainy of an image, but I definitely think that's what it is. And then in the next little section, we have this little jail area, which we have a much better picture of, with the Gamorrean guard and one of the characters locked up there. You've got kind of an armory behind them, I guess a broom in front, but more weapons behind there, which is really cool to see on that back wall. The next section is a little kitchen area where you can see some little plates below, a lot of food hanging on the wall, some fish, a nice little stove area maybe with a skillet, like just a wonderfully detailed interior space there. And there are some spots like on the ground where you can see like different studs and stuff. And in this particular image in front of Bib Fortuna, you have this large area that definitely looks like something goes on it. Oh, it actually looks like there's stairs. No, it's not going to be Jabba's platform, because there's little stairs that lead up somewhere, but they aren't there in the image with Bib Fortuna, but in this like side image, you can see them there. Also, by the way, like the top part of the sail barge is removable, so you'll be able to get to the interior even easier than just pulling down the side panels. I assume the side panels only on the side facing us drop down, I guess. Yeah, it's got to be like that. It's got to be only the one side panel drops down, and then the other side is basically a wall that's pretty solid on the inside of the other panel. Finally, though, we have the section for Jabba the Hutt and Max Reba, although I think this is kind of the best image we have for it right now. It does look pretty cool, finally seeing in a UCS scale what this whole thing looks like. Like, obviously, we've had these little sections, or some of them, scaled down in the playsets, but seeing it, built to be as big as it basically can be is pretty awesome. I think, like with many Lego Star Wars sets, the price will be a big sticking point for a lot of people. Some of the minifigs in this set and their quality is definitely questionable, and certainly when it's a $500 set, it's worth questioning and asking Lego Star Wars to do better, because they can and have done better, and they're refusing to once again. So yeah, $500 set, definitely could see some people not wanting to buy this day one, but the benefit of buying it day one is you would get that Luke's lightsaber gift with purchase. So a lot of people might want to buy it day one for that, because you won't really be getting a second crack at that Luke's lightsaber if history is any indicator. So, give and take there certainly, but this is a set that I'm definitely excited for. It's one that's been a long time coming, super overdue for Lego to make a UCS Jabba's sail barge. It's always been one of those sets, much like a UCS AT-AT when it came out. It's like, it took them 20 years to do this, really? Like, it's a great set. It's not a bad thing that it took them so long. It definitely made it worth the wait. But it's like, man, it's just one of those sets you would have happened earlier at this UCS scout. Anyway, I think that's all the pictures and details we have on this UCS Jabba's sail barge. We might have some more pictures soon, and I'll have my review out hopefully by October 4th. I'll probably get the set on release day on October 3rd. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get this one early or not, like some other ones, but we will see. If you guys did enjoy the video, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my official review of the sail barge. In the meantime, by the way, I guess I'll finally get to working on these. I got nothing else to do.